Darnold unraveled in the playoffs, just absolutely unraveled and unraveling walking in to the playoffs. And so we're sitting here wondering who's throwing the football to Justin Jefferson in 2025. It's not going to be Sam Darnold at this point. I don't know where he goes. I don't know what kind of, juice he put in the bank for some sort of, job in 2025. Where is he going to land? I don't know. What's it mean for JJ? JJ McCarthy, look, as much as Sam Darnold unraveled, he still threw the football. I don't know. We'll talk about it right now. Rams move on. Kyren Williams to the moon. Puka Nacua, could have had a better game, but Kyren Williams did his thing. The Rams look pretty good. Their defense looks stout. I mean, this could be a team that absolutely knocks off the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll go over the bracket, my bracket predictions, and more. The Fantasy Football Show, baby. The Graveyard Show. The after show. It begins right now. File on in. Phone line shall be open. Do it live.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
I mean, damn. Here's the bracket. What do I have cooking moving forward? I don't know. I mean, I certainly think that the KC Chiefs are moving on. I know someone might say, Smitty, this is football, and that's true. Anything could happen. I mean, a turnover of sorts could trigger some sort of crazy event. But we're going to put KC over. Let me see if I can move this here. My whole system is completely frozen. Okay, let me move KC. Come on! Everything's going to a crawl. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I got to probably restart. Not now, but later. KC's going to move on from this side of the bracket. We'll put them right here. Let me make them a tad bit smaller. Squeeze them in here. This is a tough game. Buffalo, Baltimore. I'm going to come back to that. Detroit, Washington. These are all tough at this point. This is tough. I really think I really want to have the Rams win this game. The defense looks really good, and Hurts looks very bad right now. He's not dynamic on any level, and I blame Hurts in some ways. Got to put some of it on Hurts, but Jalen Hurts does not look good with Sirianni right now. Sirianni's holding back everything. It's just such a good addition of Barkley and the defensive, changes that have turned this defense into a top 5 defense across the board. Those two additions mask and disguise Sirianni holding back the offense. You've got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and you can't pass with anything. I could walk out onto the field and pass better than the Philadelphia Eagles are passing right now. You've got A.J. No wonder A.J. Brown's reading a book. Now, I know A.J. Brown shouldn't be reading a book on the sideline. If those of you that don't know what in the hell I'm talking about, A.J. Brown was reading a book on the sidelines, and Hurts says he's never seen A.J. Brown reading a book, but he said, he's seen him holding it, but he never saw him reading it, and now he sees him reading it on the sidelines during the game. If I was a coach, I wouldn't allow that, number one. Number two, I'm not defending A.J. Brown at all. He's been an absolute headache the entire second half of the season. Hasn't been producing. I don't blame him fully for that because it's the Eagles' offense. It's Sirianni. You've got weapons galore and you struggle. You're on the struggle bus to throw the football. You got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley, who's included in that. And they struggle to run or to pass the ball. The addition of Saquon, the improved defense, masks and disguises the fact that the Eagles are super vulnerable on offense. They can't even score points. Like, they're just struggle to score points against Green Bay. They couldn't do it. They're just struggling along, just dragging their feet. If anybody can stop the Eagles, it's any one of these 4 teams, but the Rams look like they could. I don't know that I would have that be the outcome. I'll kind of take this through the show and make my determination, because I think the defense and Barkley are strong enough to get through one more game. But I think the Detroit Lions, if they make it past the Washington Commanders, the Detroit Lions will not allow the Philadelphia Eagles to pass through them. They will shut them down. They're too well-rounded on D, passing attack, rushing attack, coaching. Every level is a well-oiled, fine-tuned machine. Whereas the Philadelphia Eagles have the firepower to dance and match up with the Lions on every level except for the coaching. But Barkley, Gibbs and Monty, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You've got Jamison Williams coming into his own. St. Brown. You've got Laporta. You've got Goddard. You've got defense. It's like literally matched up pound for pound. The only difference is this school bus right here is driving on a half-empty tank of gas. This one is fully loaded, souped up rims. Everything is buzzing for the Detroit Lions. So good luck, Philly. If you do make it past the Rams, I don't think you get past the Detroit Lions. Now, can the Detroit Lions get knocked off by the Washington Commanders? Maybe. My heart wants to say yes. Although my heart is very invested in the Detroit Lion players. You know, I absolutely love my boy Gibbs and J-Mo and St. Brown. These are all show people. But we'll put the Detroit Lions here. I think they advance from this game. Lions, KC, the most likely two teams to meet up in the Super Bowl if I had to throw it down. But Baltimore has something to say about that. Josh Allen and the Bills have something to say. This is a tough bracket. This is probably the toughest bracket that I can think of in recent, 5 to 10 years. Because I'm looking at this and I'm just saying to myself, the Bills could win it all. The Ravens could win it all. The Chiefs could win it all. Houston, no thank you. The Rams can't win it all. The Philadelphia Eagles they could win it all if they played, amazing consecutive games, but it's so hard to do with Sirianni at the helm. Washington, they could. Anything could happen, but they're probably like a year away. This is one of those things where the Detroit Lions fell short last year, right? And we knew they'd be back, bigger, stronger, better. I think that's kind of how I envision the Washington Commanders to exit the 2024/2025 playoffs here, is in that fashion of, damn, they looked good doing it. Can't wait to see the future unfold. But anything's possible. This is football. The Washington Commanders could make it to a Super Bowl. Rookie quarterback could make it to a Super Bowl. It's that time of year. It's that day and age. It's a whole different thing. It's really tough. We'll come back to the bracket. First, want to just say JJ's future's in a little bit of I would say, flux, because you don't know who's throwing him the football. And JJ McCarthy, a lot of you might be really excited about JJ McCarthy, and I'm not like super negative toward his rise at all. I just don't know what is in store for him. Whether the Vikings win or lose, JJ, Addison, the Vikings offense has been in very good hands fantasy football-wise because of Sam Darnold. Now, he's folded the last handful of weeks, no doubt about it. And who knows, that could trigger and transpose into 2025 easily. It could just slingshot right over, and then he struggles. And then you have like a Kirk Cousins and Penix Jr. situation next year, where they keep Darnold in there for a little while and he fails out, and then they plug JJM in, and then they're overpaying Darnold, because to have Darnold there next year, they got to pay him. Darnold is was one of the hottest free agent players of the 2024 free agents. So this should be 2025 free agents. Let me change the title. 2025 free agents. Darnold and really Higgins lead the way. Najee you could consider a big time free agent. Godwin, if he wasn't coming back from injury, he still is a good prospect for sure. Fields, obviously. Russell Wilson, no thank you. I'm all moonballed out. And Aaron Jones is 87 years old. This is a pretty weak free agent pool, if you ask me. That makes Darnold and Fields extra attractive and probably very sought after. That makes Higgins, Godwin, Hollywood, and even Diggs highly sought after. Najee might find a home. This is a wild free agent time we're about to breach into, but there aren't a lot of huge names. Darnold will get some attention from Las Vegas if they decide or worry that they won't be able to get a draft pick high enough to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Tennessee, there's a lot of teams that I can envision taking a stab at Sam Darnold. And let's not forget how good he did play for not a string of games, pretty much the entire 2024 NFL season. The question, though, remains is like, we sit here, and I didn't really buy it the whole time. You know me. I'm sitting here like, I'll take my lap on missing his season coming. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see Baker coming. I didn't see Darnold coming. I take full response. I've set myself on a Baker lap already dozens of times. But like Sam Darnold, when I set myself on a lap over it, I did. At one point, I accepted it, okay? I didn't love it. I didn't fully buy into it, but I accepted it. I was wrong on Darnold. Darnold was an absolute monster this year. I accepted. I missed it. But I didn't buy it. I wasn't buying it fully. I don't know. The other day, I even kind of said, look, it is what it is. Like, he's been playing great. Like, I missed it. I give him his credit. But he started to unfold and unravel really quickly, and it's like, this is why. You know, it's amazing that he lasted this long, though. How do you go through a whole season? Like, remember Derek Carr? Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Darnold all started off 2024 on a tear. Don't forget, Derek Carr was in the same bucket of player. Derek Carr was as exciting as Baker and Sam Darnold through a handful of games. And we're like, no, this cannot continue. At least one or two or probably all three of these guys are going to fall flat on their face. Baker did not. Baker's a dog. Baker's a dog. Sam Darnold kind of earned dog status, but I didn't love it. I couldn't really fully accept it. I couldn't sleep at night. I was tossing and turning over this thing. Like, how did I miss this? He doesn't look good. And Derek Carr, we knew Derek Carr was going to fall off if not get injured, but he was playing amazing. Derek Carr was playing amazing. Derek Carr turning 34 doesn't matter, Matto. It's irrelevant because he's dog water. But my point is that Sam Darnold and Derek Carr, they both were in the same exciting bucket of player, multiple games, kicking off the season. What was Sam Darnold's? Let me look at Sam Darnold's game. Or I'm sorry, Derek Carr. Derek Carr game log 2024. Because it was wild. I mean, he started off on such a tear. Where was it? Yeah, it was only like 2 weeks really, but everybody was really excited about it. And it was like, come on. The fact that all four, oh yeah, the rushing touchdown too. All three of those QBs were tearing it up, and everyone was confused as hell about it. You know, we didn't see it coming. Look at Derek Carr's first two games, walking into Carolina and Dallas, of course. 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and what was it? It was, 3 touchdowns, and then this is the rushing touchdown category. So 3 touchdowns. No. That was, where is it? I think I screenshotted it wrong. Let me screenshot it again. I'm sorry. Let me get these rushing stats in here. Okay, so here is Derek Carr's rushing totals. My bad. Here it is. Let me close this out and drag the new screenshot over. It was, there we go. 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 0 rushing touchdowns. But then 243, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. So he started off the year with 6 TDs, and everybody's like, Derek Carr might be doing something good. And then Sam Darnold's doing it. We're like, come on, bro. These are all paper tigers. Now, Baker had done it the year before, so Baker had the most moxie and the most carryover. The most carryover production and carryover trust, which I think I'm going to coin in the industry this year. Carryover trust. How much carryover trust do you have? How much COT do you have? How much COT are you bringing to the table? Look, carryover trust is a. I think it should be coined. I think we decided right now. We coined it. Carryover trust.
Let him cook.
It's got to be a big factor, I think, going forward. How much carryover trust do they have? How much production are they bringing to the table? Like, to trust Baker this year off of the carryover trust, the COT from last year, is massive carryover. There's no carryover trust for Derek Carr. There's no carryover trust for Sam Darnold. You look at a player like, we could look at anybody like Bucky Irving. He doesn't have it, but he was a rookie, so you can't count it or include it in that. But you look at someone like Jerry Jeudy. How much carryover trust can we really bring over? Like, if he starts popping off at the beginning of the year, he's got some that he's bringing over. Now we got to buy into him. But when Jerry Jeudy started playing well this year, it was hard to buy into it. He did kind of vanish at the end. He had a quarterback carousel of garbage, but there was nothing coming over from Jerry Jeudy's previous, game logs or years to say this is going to continue. Same thing with Westbrook-Akine. He didn't quite have any sort of carryover trust or any sort of ability to lock in what he's been doing. Rookies are different because you're looking at their college game, the prospecting. You got to make more stabs. But damn, man, Sam Darnold had nothing. No carryover trust, no COT at all. And here he is just doing his thing. People expecting him to continue to do it. And I don't know where he's going to be next year. I just don't. I'm looking at the teams. Let's take a look at all the teams in the NFL. And let's say, obviously, this top row of AFC teams don't need a quarterback. This bottom row, the only teams that would even contemplate him would be the Colts or the Dolphins as a backup. Now, will Sam Darnold get some starter bites? Maybe. If not, then those could be options. Cleveland might be an intriguing landing spot, a bridge quarterback, if you will, as they potentially look to trade down out of the number 2 overall pick down to 6 with the Raiders so they can draft their wide receiver of choice or Genty. You take Genty, and I like Fields over Darnold. I'm just saying where their mind might be at. I take Fields in a heartbeat. Fields, Genty, a trade down, which gets you an extra first-round pick, and you're drafting Genty, you're bringing in Fields, and you got 2 first-rounders in 2026 to trade up and get a quarterback if Fields doesn't work out, or to just support Fields if he is working out. Now, they might go Darnold, and then they could go receiver, Darnold or Genty, and have that bridge quarterback there. Watson's done for 2025. He not tore his Achilles 3 months ago, retore it as of days ago, a week ago, tore his Achilles, so he's done for his career probably. So Darnold is a thought. Darnold, Fields, Cleveland probably will start, strongly considering, well, they already are, taking a quarterback at 2, taking Cam Ward or taking Shedeur Sanders. But I mean, his landing spot is going to be kind of intriguing because he does bring some carryover trust into 2025. But how much? Because he folded. He unraveled. I don't know. I don't trust him. I trust him more than I trust Carr, but I trust him way less than I trust Baker. Baker's earned it. Baker's in the club. I opened up the guard gate and let Baker in and then closed it. Darnold's on the other side. Darnold, I don't trust you. You're not getting in across the fence yet. I just can't buy into it. You fold and unravel. And then you see him like he's done this before. Darnold had an unraveling and then he rebounded. And remember the locker room. The Vikings make the playoffs and the whole team's chanting his name. They pick him up on their shoulders. They absolutely love this guy. You remember that for a second. Then you say, I don't know. This team bought into him. Are they really going to unbuy into him? Are they really going to walk all that back after one unraveling? I don't know. It's tough to say. It really is. In this game, Aaron Jones, 48 yards, 3.7 a pop. I don't know how much time he's got left. The Vikings would be a very intriguing spot for Genty or a Scadaboo or a player like Dylan Sampson because they need an RB, and they've got a really good offense. I don't know if it'll be as efficient under J.J. McCarthy, but, this is a offense is better than the quarterback. Look at Kirk Cousins. Was Kirk Cousins ever really that good, or was he propped up in a very good system? Was Sam Darnold ever that good, or was he propped up in a very good system? Maybe J.J. McCarthy is better than both of them. And if you additionally prop him up on top of him being better, maybe J.J. McCarthy balls the hell out. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's a negative for J.J., Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but change is always kind of like scary when the fantasy production's working. And it didn't work in this game. And again, you got to think about that carrying over to next year. If we're assuming that Darnold bounces back and becomes a Cinderella story, and then he fails again in the playoffs next year and he becomes one of those quarterbacks, we can't assume that he's back because he finished on a horrible note. And he's done this before. He's bounced back from it. Again, team put him on his shoulders. But there's a lot of concern here. Addison, 29 yards. JJ, 50. How does JJ get 5 catches for 58 yards? 8 targets. 3 of them did not connect. But how are you going to win a game when JJ, the best wide receiver arguably in the NFL, gets 5 for 58 in a game where you're throwing from behind? There's a problem in Minnesota. Kyren Williams, 76 yards. Had a big 15, 20-yard carry called back near the end of the game. So that total could have very much been 100 total yards. He also had the additional 16 yards receiving on 3 catches and the touchdown. So a very serviceable fantasy day for our boy Kyren, who would have totaled well over 100 yards if they didn't call that play back. But 4.8 yards per carry, ran tough, looked amazing. Tyler Higbee was utilized a ton. Actually shocking when you see he got hurt though. 5 for 58. It seemed like he had 100 yards. It was crazy. Puka Nacua, 5 for 54. Started the game off on a terror. I think a 27-yard, right there, long of 27. 27-yard rip right to Puka, first play. And then what? You give him a little bit more than double that the entire game. Cooper Kupp, that was an amazing catch that he had. That one catch for 29 yards is a great catch, but one target. Look at one target for Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is not as bad as he's been playing. It's weird. And they talked about it like there's no bad blood between Stafford and Cooper Kupp. They were shaking hands before and after that play and just like, hey, I want to get you going. But if he can't do it in this scenario, if he continues to not catch footballs and he continues to not get targets, it's not going to change. And I don't know where I would even take Cooper Kupp. We talked about it pregame, like would we take him in the 4th or 5th round or 5th round, 6th round? Would I take him as a 3rd, 4th receiver, like a 3-4, your 3rd drafted wide receiver? Maybe not anymore. I mean, for him to not even show any signs of life again, to get one target, like what's going on? He's running around the field. And as I said weeks back, he was streaking down the field. And he was wide open for like a 50-plus yard touchdown, and Stafford didn't look his direction. Regardless of why, it's a problem, and it's not self-correcting. It's crazy. Demarcus Robinson, 1 catch for 23 yards. Kyren Williams got 3 targets, again, 16-1 touchdown. It was a good game for Kyren, and that was about it. Stafford's 209-2 wasn't bad, but it wasn't a very good. Hawkinson, 64 and a touch. It was a very boring, bland fantasy football outing for the most part. It wasn't what fantasy owners really wanted, but I mean, the real question here, the question we're here to talk about tonight, what I want the phone callers to talk about. If you have another question, that's fine. You can mix it in, but the first thing out of your mouth I want to be about Sam Darnold. Whether you think he's going to be in Minnesota, whether you think it's going to be the J.J. McCarthy show, did this put the nail in the coffin for Sam Darnold even being a starter in the NFL in 2025, or just a nail in the coffin for being the Viking starter in 2025? Did this unraveling, this final absolute, dud of a game here in the playoffs, did it put Sam Darnold back on the bench in the NFL, or did it just send him elsewhere? I want to know what you think. And what does it mean for JJ? Are you worried? Do you think JJ's quarterback proof? And while I do believe he is, I'll answer that question for you. The thing is, he wasn't in a quarterback proof situation. He was in a really good situation commanded by Sam Darnold in 2024. It was going well. He was scoring a lot. He was getting targets. He was getting touchdowns more than he's ever gotten. This is a great system and setup for JJ to produce numbers. So it wasn't like he was skating by. Oh, he'll do fine. He's a quarterback proof. He can do anything. Yes, he can. But is JJ McCarthy going to be as good of a situation? We hope he is. And I hope, he's also coming back from injury. It's not like he's just sitting there ready to go. We'll see. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Very curious to hear what you guys think. We've got a super chat from Jonathan. Hey, Smitty, got Keon Coleman and Coker for my 26 first in Dynasty. No. Coker and Keon Coleman are not even close to worth a 26 first rounder. It doesn't mean I don't like Keon Coleman. I'm not giving up on Keon Coleman entirely, but his value changed, bro. This is not it. You got to go with fair market value. The fair market value of Coker and Coleman doesn't even sniff the jockstrap of 26 first round draft material. It's not even close, bro. That is a absolute slam the door shut and tell him not to return with the trade offer. In fact, I've got this for you.
You are offer sex. You are trade offer sex.
Okay, dial into the phone line. I had somebody on hold, but he started talking, so I hung up on him because he's in the middle of a scene. Call back if you want to jump on, bro. I'll get you in here. All right, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
You send that man, Jonathan, that clip at 25 minutes and about 30 seconds into this show. You do it, and you do it live. Whoever that caller was that I just hung up on, dial in again. Travis, what's up, my boy? You're live.
How's it going? Kind of another crappy playoff game overall, like you were saying.
Yeah, kind of overall.
I mean, I guess it's a first round. There's a lot of parity in the NFL. It's what they want ultimately. But I mean, what do you think? There'll be 3 or 4 teams anyway trying to get Darnold as a starter next year.
I mean, that's my initial thought, but I don't know that I know that for sure. The teams that definitely need a QB definitely need a starting QB would be the Cleveland Browns, because they have no quarterback, because Deshaun Watson will not be ready and may not play ever again for the Browns, let alone he'll be ready for any sort of 2025 action, especially initially. The Raiders, so that's 2 teams, Raiders, the Browns, the Steelers could get in the mix and let both, both Russell Wilson and Fields are walking. They're both free agents, but will they try and bring back one of them? Russell Wilson would almost 100% certain to take a hometown discount to stay where he's comfortable, where he knows he does not want to learn a new system. I think he wouldn't even consider going somewhere else, even if the offer was greater. But let's just say Pittsburgh's involved. So Pittsburgh, you've got the Browns, you've got the Raiders, Chargers, no, Titans, yes. So Titans are now in the mix. The Jets are in the mix. I mean, yeah, really, just in the AFC alone. In the NFC, the Saints, you've got obviously the Vikings will go with McCarthy if they don't go with Darnold. Giants, man, remember when we thought the Panthers were going to need a quarterback? It's crazy. That's crazy turn of events. The Bears need a quarterback. They just don't know it yet, so they're going to wait a couple years before they determine that. Seattle, I mean, Darnold to Seattle would be – I kind of feel like here's the way that I look at it. Darnold going to Seattle, Darnold going to the Jets, Darnold going to the Raiders. It's just going to be Kirk Cousins again. This year's Kirk Cousins disappointment situation.
Right.
I don't know that Darnold is going to go to Seattle and look any better than Geno Smith. I don't think Darnold's going to the Raiders and looking any better, really, than O'Connell at his best. I don't think he's going to the Browns to look any better than Winston at his best. And if Darnold goes to the New York Jets, good God, am I getting rid of all my Garrett Wilson shares, because all you're having is this continuous mediocrity injected into that Jets offense, and they're just ready to fail you over and over again. If the Jets don't get a Fields or better, and some might say Fields has that same scare and fear, and I get that, but I believe in Fields personally. But you throw anybody less than Fields or Shador or Cam Ward or I mean, really, I don't know who else you could even get this is going to be a straight disappointment. It wouldn't surprise me if the Jets turn back to Aaron Rodgers for a year, because what's their alternative? I mean, who the hell knows?
I don't think any of these teams should go after Darnold. I think they will. But, I think Darnold, like you were touching on, Kevin O'Connell's system, he does well. And then on top of that, you have J.J., Addison, Hawkinson, good running back. It's like he had so much working around him. He's going to have almost none of that if he goes elsewhere.
Yeah. 570, I didn't mean to hang up on you. You were the guy I hung up on, right? Well, I didn't really on accident. I was trying to.
All good.
Yeah. What's your name, bro? Where are you calling from?
Aiden. I'm calling from northeastern Pennsylvania. Let me just start by saying came in third place this year, Smitty. Thank you. First place overall regular season, so I appreciate all the help this year.
Yeah. Aiden from Pennsylvania, you said, right? Okay.
Yeah.
What can I do for you, pal, and congrats?
My point returning after this game is this, I think, will go down probably as Jefferson's worst full season, just from the way Darnold was getting in the ball. I think Darnold's probably gone, and if McCarthy's in there and healthy, I think he's always a top 3 guy, but I think Jettis has that ability to actually take wide receiver 1 again. Because this season, watching him, Darnold didn't have his quick pass. He was accurate, but I feel like McCarthy gives him more quick slants, opportunities for big plays. I don't know. That's just
I mean, JJ was wide receiver 3, wasn't he? Yeah. So what do you mean his worst season? But you say that, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Maybe it is his worst season. Maybe he does better from here. I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong, but you said it in a way it was like, yeah, JJ's down year. I think it's going to turn around. He was 3rd in fantasy football wide receiver points. He had 1533 receiving yards, 103 receptions, 93% snap share, which is amazing. 154 targets. 10 receiving touchdowns. A guy that has not always been a lock in the double-digit touchdown conversation. In fact, that was kind of the knock as to why Jamar was a better prospect every year. I don't know. I kind of feel like you take Darnold out of this situation. I'm not saying JJ isn't better. Again, like I alluded to earlier, Darnold is not good, but he's pretty damn good in this system. Kirk Cousins was, in my opinion, not all that good, but he was very good in this system. So maybe JJ McCarthy is actually better than both of them. So he'll be amazing in this system. It's certainly possible, and you could be right. Just the way you worded it, it's like JJ disappointed. He didn't disappoint this year. He had a really good year.
I'd say floor then, not worse, but I would just say I think for how amazing he is with Darnold, I think much higher ceiling.
What do you like about McCarthy? I'm not saying he's going to fail. I just want to know. He coming back from a major injury.
I like that you can develop him. There is something to be said for winning a national championship, I think. I think that he's going to grow with Jefferson, and he's going to lean on him as a rookie a lot. So for fantasy purposes, maybe I'm not, super into McCarthy, but I think I'm not scared next year for drafting Jefferson wherever.
I will say this. I think that prospect-wise, assuming he is, I don't know where he's at in his rehab process. Let me look that up real quickly. But assuming he's healthy, I think that he's a good enough prospect that you put this Viking system with him, it feels pretty safe. I will say I don't expect a Geno Smith type, player. I expect something more along the lines of Bo Nix. I think he could have even though I think Bo Nix is better than JJ McCarthy, and I thought that from January on, I think with the Vikings offense, you could get more fantasy production or the same amount as we kind of saw from Bo Nix. That would be amazing. Bo Nix was great for Sutton. He was great for Mims. He was great for any receiver catching footballs from him. So that would be an amazing result. That could result in as you say, 1,500 yards and 10 plus TDs every year if we're getting Bo Nix, rookie Bo Nix production. That's what I think McCarthy could get in his sophomore year potentially. Let me just look up his injury status and everything. It says Vikings may add, let's see here. I don't really see anything on his progress, but we'll have to play it by ear.
I mean, he had the surgery right after it happened, and that was in August. So he, if everything's going well, he's probably on.
Yeah. The problem with meniscus tears, though, is they're worse than ACL tears. If you have a bad meniscus tear, you're better off having a clean ACL tear than a meniscus tear. But as a quarterback, though, less concerned. But like, let's say a running back came in with a bad meniscus tear, that is worse than having a clean ACL. I'd much rather have a running back have a clean ACL. Young kid will be fine. Meniscus tears, it's like taking your brake pads and slicing off a big chunk in the corner, and then putting your car back out there, and then putting miles on it, and it just starts to everything gets imbalanced. It's crazy how people think meniscus tears are like not a crazy injury. Like, oh, it's just small. That's one of the little piece of padding in the knee. It's the most devastating. It brings on early arthritis and tendonitis and all those things. It's why Todd Gurley just absolutely instantly, just out of nowhere, just hit a wall and dropped off. But he's a quarterback, and I'm not worried about that because he's as much because he's not running. He's not, who cares if he slows down a couple years earlier or something like that. So not worried. We just got to hope he has no setbacks. I just want to make sure he didn't have like a lot of times you find out, especially with like AJ Brown, there's a couple players that are there. You can guarantee this is going to happen. AJ Brown, almost guarantee you, AJ Brown, can't guarantee everything, but almost guarantee you, AJ Brown has some sort of knee scope and we find out about it later. I almost guarantee you, but like we don't know if JJ had some sort of like cleanup because it didn't, they didn't trim it right. We'll see. So he had meniscus surgery. It was that bad, Like whereas I also think of it like if anybody's ever like right now I cut my finger right now, and I've got this piece of skin right here, and if you start pulling on it or you try and cut it, you make it worse. And sometimes when you're trimming, you can trim the meniscus just perfectly, and then it's fine. It's flush. It won't catch. It won't re-rip. But just like your skin on your finger, if it's not cut right, or if you pull it with your teeth like a disgusting animal and you rip it off too much, then it's really painful and you ripped off too much. Like meniscus is very much like that. It's a very tricky situation. But I'm excited for J.J. McCarthy a little bit, knowing how good Sam Darnold, a pumpkin, looked in this offense. I am now more excited about the production that we might get out of JJM, given what I witnessed this year in terms of Sam Darnold. Let me put that out there. Sick Nasty's in the chat. He loves JJM. I think that should excite you, Sick Nasty. I'm more excited about JJM this year way more than I was last year because of what I just witnessed.
That's some fantastic analysis, Smitty. Thank you.
All right, hey. One more, and then I got to jump to the next caller.
It fits so well for him to go to the Titans. Thanks, Smitty.
Who? Darnold?
Darnold to the Titans, I think, makes too much sense.
Because he'll be bad there?
Even though he's not,
What's the, like, how is that going to be good for him?
I mean, it may not be good for him, but it's better than what the Titans have right now.
Okay,
so,
that might be true, but that's where Darnold will go to absolutely finish off the job of unraveling. Sam Darnold, if he unraveled in Minnesota's offense, bro, he's going to go to the Tennessee Titans. They're going to put him in a coffin by week 4. I mean,
it would still be entertaining.
All right, later, Aiden. Got to go, Aiden. Thank you. Appreciate you. Man. Mitch, you're live. Go ahead, Mitch.
Hey, Smitty. How you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good, bro.
That was a pretty pathetic game that Darnold had. I really hope he goes to the Raiders or Titans. Just get him out of fantasy relevance for the good receivers. Just my opinion, though.
Yeah. What else you got, Mitch?
Well, where do you think, do you think with McCarthy potentially being the starting quarterback, do you think JJ would like drop 2 or 3 spots from like where he's projected to go next season?
Rephrase that. What do you mean exactly?
Well, he's like projected to go like 5th or 6th overall in the first round.
Oh,
I mean,
JJ.
do you think like
I thought you were saying JJ McCarthy.
yeah,
Okay.
Jefferson.
I think
JJ.
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's say it was announced that Darnold's being brought back. They're going to sign him to a mega contract, and we're like, what in the hell? Because they love him there, bro. And we got to remember, just because we feel like he sold and looked like trash, doesn't mean that locker room that picked him up on their shoulders, marched him around just like a week ago, and the coaching staff that gave him the game ball and said, you did this, whatever. We don't know how they feel. We really don't. We're not there every day in practice. But let's say for any reason he goes and gets re-signed there. I think if anything, JJ's value stays exactly the same. If not, you're almost a little bit safer in Dynasty even because he's got 2 options now. And like if one, just like how we felt about London, even though it took him forever to pull the trigger and we really saw a suffering, Drake London stat line all season long because of it. And Bijan was hampered by it for a chunk of the season. But it still made you feel from a dynasty perspective like you could sleep like a baby every night because you had 2 quarterbacks. It wasn't going to get screwed up on both ends of this thing. One of them was going to work out. That's how I would approach JJ in redraft, but especially dynasty. If Sam Darnold returned and he turns into a pumpkin again in week 1, 2, maybe he never returns to solid play, then you got JJ just sitting there. And so you're covered. If Darnold leaves, I think we probably value JJ a little bit less just because we're walking into an unknown. We got a lot of big-time performers coming out of 2024 that are going to solidify themselves in that top 5. So it kind of makes JJ a value. It kind of prices him down maybe just a little bit, just a smidge. But he's probably still going to flirt with like 5, 6, 7 overall value. Like we're talking about if he had both quarterbacks and let's say JJ, Justin Jefferson. I'm not calling JJ McCarthy JJ. If anybody hears me say JJ, I'm talking about Justin Jefferson. It's okay, just so we know going forward. I'm never going to call JJ McCarthy JJ. So if let's say JJ finished with 100 yards and a touchdown in this game, the Vikings won. JJ had 150 yards and no touchdowns, but 10 receptions in the next game, and they lost that round. Like I think JJ could go in the top 3, top 4 overall, but I think he might go in like the 6, 7 territory. I think you got Jamar Chase, you've got Gibbs, you've got Bijan, you've got. You do get to a point where it's hard to say that he's still not right there, even with JJ McCarthy and the unknowns, though. I don't know. It's a good question.
I think it's hard to say his ceiling is higher until we see what JJ McCarthy is, but I don't think his ceiling necessarily falls. I think there's a chance of a lower floor just because you have, a rookie quarterback and you don't truly know what's going on. But I mean, you can't expect a much higher ceiling, 1,510 touchdowns.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying, and I agree with you. But here's what I'm saying. I think that you have, in this first round, you have Jamar Chase, you have Bijan, you have Barkley. This is probably the consensus. This isn't necessarily my exact rank, but this would be the consensus. You'd have Henry, then you'd have Gibbs.
Yep.
And then it's like, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your top 5.
Yep.
And then you have JJ and Lamb and
Amon-Ra is going to climb in.
Yeah, Puka, Amon-Ra. And I think that's where JJ is going to be with JJ McCarthy. But I think if JJ, Justin Jefferson, finished on a tear, even if they lost this game and he had 150 yards and a touchdown, I think JJ gets squeezed in either here or here. So to answer your question, it's not far, but he's in the 4-5 overall conversation if he finished strong, whether he got yeah, and Darnold returned. Darnold not returning, not finishing strong, little ambiguity. Dak Prescott starts looking good. Lamb, all this starts, Dallas drafts Genty. People start talking again. I could easily see Lamb going ahead of JJ in August. I don't know. Tough to say.
Well, if Darnold were to leave, would you want to draft Neighbors over JJ?
No. I love Neighbors, but no.
I would have, but he does. We have talked about how Neighbors start to climb into that conversation.
He's in the tier.
End. Some people will say, I want him.
Dynasty.
We don't know if JJ's
Dynasty. They're near dead even. But in redraft, 2025 yearly league, home leagues, best ball, it doesn't really matter. I think Neighbors is in JJ's bucket, no doubt about it. But he's at the bottom. He just climbed in. JJ's like at the top of it. He's in the top of the tier. But it's gonna be tough. I think we definitely need to marinate on it a little bit. Nobody's got to lock in their thought process or anything like that. Or, having this order, even for me, is going to change in the coming days, let alone weeks and months. So there's nothing wrong with being like, I like this. And then tomorrow I could be like, yeah, JJ's, right under Gibbs for me no matter what. And then a month from now, I might have Neighbors there. I love Neighbors. I think Neighbors is fantastic, bro. And as soon as they get a quarterback, and depends who they get Justin Fields or they trade up to get the 2 or the 1 pick overall, all of a sudden Neighbors is maybe on this show starting to be level with JJ McCarthy under center. But to answer your question in full, if you gave me the assurance Darnold would return even after this unraveling, I would feel a little bit more likely to put him at 6 overall under Gibbs than I would if you told me it's just JJ McCarthy. And that's not to say that I like JJ McCarthy less than Darnold. It's just you giving me 2 players like when you gave me Kirk Cousins and Penix Jr. It's just security. Just major security. All right, bro.
Yeah. All right.
Later, Mitch.
Well, I think the Commanders can pull up the upset.
I'm sorry, Mitch. I already hit the button. Dre from New Jersey, you're live.
Uncle Smitty, how you doing? I'm here today to talk about the carryover trust.
Yep,
for
the COT,
Jerry
baby.
Jeudy going into next year, the COT. Jerry Jeudy, I like Jerry Jeudy going into next year. You're right. Is that someone you put in your lineup before Sunday and you're confident about it? Honestly, no. For a little bit, it wasn't. But after a couple weeks, you felt better than some other options. And I don't think Jerry Jeudy is the kind of guy I'm marking off, because I don't see him as a breakout, like it's an anomaly. I look at it more like a Cortland Sutton, right? He kind of broke out more than it was a whimsical kind of once-in-a-lifetime season for him. Now, his quarterback situation, Deshaun Watson is out. I think that's the best thing that can happen for him. Maybe the franchise.
Sounds like he's reading.
But whether they run it
Derek
back
Smitty,
to Winston or they go into this draft, pick Shador, whoever, I'm high on it because we know I was watching the Hard Knock show. And the Denver,
Take a breath, Dre. Take a breath, Dre. Take a breath.
When Jameson was passing the torch to DTR, he was like, "Listen, you got to pass the ball to Jeudy. That's the guy." And when
I don't know that actually happened.
In the first week with DTR, he put up 4 points in fantasy.
All right, Dre, calm down. Dre, calm down. You got me sold. I'm gonna buy the car. Damn it. All right.
All right, cool. That's what I need.
Look,
I need you to be
okay,
high
I got you. I heard you. I'm just going to slow you down a little bit because we know what you're saying at this point. Jerry Jeudy is a nice prospect, bro. It all depends on his ADP and cost of entry. Does he have some carryover trust is what we're coining this as on this channel as of tonight. Carryover trust. I think he definitely does. You know why? Because when he started to pop off, I thought, this ain't going to continue. I really didn't know. And then it started to continue, and he started to look good. And then I asked Ziggy. I remember we were live, and I'm like, is he like 27 years old now? Because it just felt like he was. And we said, hey, Ziggy, how old is Jerry Jeudy? And then we sat here and we went,
Jerry Jeudy is 25 years old.
25 years old? That's right. That's right. Ziggy, how old is CeeDee Lamb?
CD Lamb is 25 years old.
And then we
and was
remember,
born on
okay,
April
these
8th,
guys are the same
1999.
age. Oh yeah, okay. But Judy's been in limbo for so long. You kind of just felt like this guy had already aged out. He's still young. He's still very young. And if you get him a good quarterback, I'm on board. If you don't give him a good quarterback, I'm not sure we're going to see him be consistent, because he hasn't been consistent until this point in time. And keep in mind, what certain quarterbacks do with certain players like that. They can, laser lock on them. We need him to have an elite quarterback. If he gets one of these rookies,
One of his cousins. I think he needs the targets more than anything. If you look at his stats, when he gets like 8-10 targets, he's golden.
I'm going to say Cousins. I'm 50-50 on whether Cousins would fall apart. Yeah, I just don't. I cannot put any support behind Kirk Cousins ever returning to consistent relevancy. He's an old... Ziggy, how old is Kirk Cousins? 87.
Kirk Cousins is 36 years old and was born on August 19th,
1988.
Ziggy
Ziggy off. 37 years old. I can't do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you tell me that the pathway for Judy to do what he did last year in that window of time where he was amazing. He was amazing. He was a top 10, top 12 wide receiver. Maybe way better than that, really, honestly. But let's just call him top 12. He was a low-end wide receiver 1, which is a phenomenal thing to say to a player that's been missing and on a milk carton since the beginning of his career. So this guy looks like potentially he has top 12 low-end, the lowest of the low-end wide receiver 1 values. You're telling me he's got to recapture? What's so funny?
No, it was just funny. You said the lowest. I'm not
okay.
laughing at you.
I'm just making sure we're on the same page here. You're telling me that
I'm
Judy, who hasn't done it, all of a sudden did do it. He's going to do it. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is going to fail us. Sam Darnold going over to Cleveland is going to get eaten up. If Sam Darnold got eaten up in the Vikings system, he's probably going to get eaten up in any other system. That is the most ideal system to be in, which is why he played so well, which is why I feel very excited about J.J. McCarthy. But, I mean, you put Darnold or Kirk Cousins in Cleveland, I don't know. I don't see it. I think they need a game changer. They need somebody that they can develop the offense.
Back after the draft. If they get the QB.
How about Fields? How about Fields? How about you ask me Fields? You say Fields goes to Cleveland, sign me up for Jerry Jeudy.
All right, I'll settle for it. Have a good one.
All right, later, bro. I mean, that would be amazing. Then I'd be on board.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm just waiting for somebody. Waiting for somebody to say.
That's a good one, though.
But Fields doesn't. Look what he did to Pickens. Look what he did to DJ Moore. Don't blame Fields for Pickens. Pickens is a head case. A diva, a crybaby, inconsistent player, and Fields was not set up to even throw to him. He was asked to run Russell Wilson's offense and keep the seat warm. I don't think people realize how different of an offense you run with Fields under center and all the running ability and Russell Wilson. They're two completely different styles of play. And that's why a lot of times if you have like a Lamar, you have a Tyler Huntley, you have a drop back gunslinger, you have that kind of backup. Honestly, Fields and Russell Wilson wasn't a good match, because if you banked on your guy being, thank you, Rocket, I see your super chat. If you bank on your guy being Russell Wilson, then he gets hurt like Russell Wilson did getting out of bed one morning, true story, and he misses 6 games and then comes strolling in week 7, you're building the offense from the beginning of the offseason through the preseason, through camp, for a guy that doesn't even run. It's Fields was never given a shot. I love when people doubt Fields and act like Fields has disappointed, and he hasn't even been enabled or believed in yet. And I make this point every time I talk about it. Fields is broken, and Fields is absolutely broken. And there is, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. If you think I'm just a no matter what Fields pedal to the metal, and if he busts, you can laugh at me, because I'm taking away your ammunition right here. And I'm not trying to double talk or just get one foot in the door and 1 foot out. Fields is broken. If you don't have the right coach like a Shane Steichen or a Dable or somebody that really knows what they're doing, and look, Dable, New York would be great for Fields. Dable would be perfect. But if you don't get the right coach in there to fix him, he's still going to be an undeveloped quarterback. And the more years that go by, the more unlikely you are to repair him. So look at Deshaun Watson in case in point. Watson, if you're sitting here, and we don't believe in Watson at all. We've said that for years now. And people will come in and go, you watch, Watson's going to bounce back. And I said, no, he won't. Watson's going to be one of the biggest busts in NFL history. And he is. It's the worst trade and the worst contract in NFL history. The Browns embarrass themselves till the end of time. But if you sit here and you say that you didn't once in Houston, when he was a rookie, before he got injured, if you say that you didn't believe that Deshaun Watson was going to be a top 4 NFL and fantasy football quarterback, you're lying through your teeth. But guess what? That player is... You what? You what?
He was the league in passing one.
Yeah, he was amazing. But that player's entirely different than the Deshaun Watson. Once he was forced to sit out football, he got broken. He was behind. They couldn't catch him back up. You got to get them back to where they were, and then also advance them. You know, so Wilson or Watson got left behind, and the same thing with Fields. Even though Fields has been playing football, he has literally been broken, and he's starting to fall behind. You know, so now's the time. It's this year. I don't even know that I'd say this year and next year. I'd say this year coming up is the year you can save Fields and turn him around. And if we get past this year, it's probably over. And that's the God honest truth of how I feel about Justin Fields. So if you think I'm just ride and die, I'm not. He's got to get in the right hands. And if he does, if a team's smart enough, if a Dable or somebody smart enough, Shane Steichen, trade AR5. Trade. If you don't believe in AR5 enough that you're going to bench him in the middle of the year, you know, after like what's really his rookie, he's finishing his rookie year out. He played 2 full games his rookie year, and you bench him mid-season. If you don't believe in him enough to leave him in there and suffer through the ups and downs, then trade him. And Shane Steichen's really good with mobile quarterbacks. He turned Jalen Hurts into an absolute monster. And ever since Shane Steichen left Philly, Hurts has fallen apart. So you give Fields to Shane Steichen, you give him to Dable in New York, and Fields gets repaired and becomes an absolute stud. If he doesn't get repaired, he's going to fall to the wayside. He's going to fall further and further behind, and he'll stay and remain broken, and he'll get even further broken. So that's how I feel about Fields. Like you can't come at me and say, oh, Smitty, if he fails, you'll see. And if you say he's already failed, you don't know what you're talking about. It's okay if you're coming from a place of fandom for your team and you're just ripping on them, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. But if you think Fields is already done under the right circumstances, you just don't know what you're saying. But that's fine. That's why the show's here, to help you with it. And hopefully we're playing that Fields of Dreams button at some point. I just can't guarantee that he's going to fall into the right hands. Anything else, Travis? Oh, Rockout wanted me to check a DM. Let me do that real quick. Rockout probably left us a beautiful rendition here. Here's Rockout's message to us all. All right, let's ask Miss Smitty if she liked that. Hey, Miss Smitty, would you enjoy going to sleep to that tune? Miss Smitty? Nothing. Rockout, don't take offense to that. It's not her kind of jam. I don't even know if she's in the other room. I like it. I'm going to go to sleep to it tonight. I'm gonna pop it on repeat. Let's see if Miss Smitty can. Hold on. Come here. Come on. Let's see if Indy likes it. Come here. I don't know. He's scared. Rock out. All right. Appreciate you, Rock out. Travis, anything else?
I was just gonna say with the thing with Darnold too is, I think they probably move on, but like you said, I mean they could just look at it as, you know, the Vikings, Rams are just a bad matchup, like because he's excelled against and looked great against other teams, and you know that they kind of have his number there. And you don't know what coaching thinks especially after they get a couple weeks out from it and they look at the whole picture, and like you said, it's going to depend on McCarthy's health too. So we'll see. I think they probably move on. But.
I'm looking at this bracket right now. If I was going to do a bold bracket, I'd have the Eagles losing to the Rams, and I'd have, I guess that's still, I mean, I don't think I could, as much as I want to have Washington win this game, like I want Washington to win so bad. And I love a lot of the Detroit players too, but I think the upset for me, the biggest upset would be just the Rams beating the Eagles, which is so doable. It's so in the cards. I think it totally could happen.
Yeah, they definitely would.
But maybe they just skate by because of Barkley, because of the defense. That's the problem. It's like the defense and Barkley are so glaringly, the glaring improvements that the kind of the falling apart of the passing attack is kind of overshadowed a little bit by it. And it's like, I think that carries you through a couple rounds. But once they face off against an equal opponent talent-wise, but yet the team isn't there playing at that level like the Detroit Lions, Eagles probably get knocked off. Unless McCarthy goes for it on fourth downs, 5 straight times and loses the game or something. Which is possible.
Well, that's the thing is the Eagles can get away with it a little because the defense has been playing so well. And like you said, Barkley is so good. It's hard to just take him out of a game, or let, say, okay, he's not going to beat us, because he's probably still going to have a factor in the game somewhere because he doesn't do so much. But if they force Hurts to throw in that passing game isn't clicking, that's where they're going to get upset somewhere along the line.
I'm gonna do this.
We'll see how long they can get.
I'm gonna do this. I'm not saying I feel like super ultra uber confident about it, but I'm gonna go Rams advance over the Eagles because the Eagles are just shoddy. That passing attack is garbage. You shut down Saquon, what are the Eagles gonna do? Give me, and the Rams D looks really good.
They couldn't do it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put that through. Buffalo, Baltimore is so tough. I go back and forth on this one. I mean, Lamar, at the end of the day, drops the ball in the playoffs until they do what I said they needed to do, and I said the Eagles needed to do it too. Find a way to bring someone else in there that can carry the load and not make it all on Lamar. And what do? They bring in Derrick Henry. What do the Eagles do? They bring in Saquon Barkley. These are arguably the 2 best free agent running backs to ever hit free agency ever in the history of the NFL. This is arguably coined as the best running back free agency pool of players we've ever seen at the RB position ever in the history of the NFL. And I think it absolutely 100% was validated. I don't think we'll, at least for a long, long time, ever see 2 players, we're talking about like top 3 running backs, go from new teams. The old teams don't bring up Saquon Barkley. Joe Shine, get your shine box. Let him go. It's unbelievable. But Henry, the fact that the Dallas Cowboys didn't even pick up the phone, and Henry was a shoo-in to go to Dallas. He even said that's where he wanted to go. If Jerry picked up the phone and said, I'll bring you in, Henry was there. He would have picked the Dallas Cowboys. He's already made that abundantly clear. He walked it back after, but he said it. That's where I wanted to go. And he didn't go. This is ridiculous. So Baltimore with Derrick Henry is just so different. It's Lamar does not have to carry the team on his back. Josh Allen still does a little bit have to carry the team on his back. Now, James Cook is playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
That kind of makes you think, okay, maybe he has a poor man's version of Derrick Henry going on, which he fully has had all year. Cook's been that good. What was Cook's touchdown? Wasn't he? Let me pull it up. Touchdown leaders for RBs in 2025 or 2024. Sorry, RB rushing TDs. It was 16 for Gibbs. Henry had 16. James Cook had 16. They were all tied.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, so James Cook was in a three-way tie for first place in rushing touchdowns. It's unbelievable. So Buffalo's had a good rushing attack. So you could say that Buffalo is not one-dimensional. But I will say the injury to Zay Flowers, what's that looking like? What's the update on that?
I think they're kind of playing it week to week. I haven't seen anything yet. I'm sure there's something out there. The one thing I will say about that, though, is that when Zay Flowers is out, and obviously he affects it, he's a very good player, Likely gets more involved, and I almost like the offense better when Likely is getting the ball.
Yeah, it's still in.
So I don't know how much it truly hurts him.
With Flowers' knee.
Still a big piece that's gone, but.
Yeah, they're trying to get him back in time, but there's no update. It's the same news. I think if let's say Zay Flowers in a miracle fashion played, I think it's a difference maker. But man, this is tough. You know what's tough? Home field advantage is a big thing. God, I'm still gonna. This one I might be wrong on. I'm just admitting that. I'm gonna go with my team. I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills. Bills are, for those that don't know, are my second team really. Those of you that have been with me for a while know that, but Buffalo, let's go Buffalo, and then I think KC. You know, as much as I want to be a homer and put the Buffalo Bills advancing, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. Nothing changes with my overall result for my bracket, but with the Rams moving on, we have okay, here it is, and then my winner is still going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think it's written. It's the way it is. The NFL wants it. The referees want it. And I don't blame that as much as everybody else. But I think KC, Taylor Swift, it's all written. Not saying it's all scripted, but it's just like this is the way it's supposed to go. Now,
I think KC wins. I still think the Texans are going to get in a good game. I know people disagree with me on that. I don't think they're going to win. I think KC wins, but
yeah. How do I feel about A.J. Brown next year? Not liking what I'm seeing out of the guy. I got to admit, I feel very, very, what's the right way to word this? Disappointed in a lot of things relating to A.J. Brown. Number one, I'm disappointed that he no longer goes live with me. That pisses me off. That's first and foremost. But, I mean, I really think, because he used to go on IG with me once an off season, and he got big and famous, got paid a bunch of money. But now he's playing diva like crazy. He's reading books on the sideline. He's complaining constantly. Doesn't look happy when they win without using him. That's the definition of a bad teammate. There was reportedly some sort of interest in going somewhere else during the season. There's been more than one occasion where him and Jalen Hurts have been at odds, and that A.J. Brown's been at odds with Sirianni. So there's a lot of unrest here. And I think there's a really decent shot we see them consider some sort of trade. Has anybody contemplated what if they traded? I don't know how it would work exactly. Would there be other picks and things involved? But what if you got traded to the Bengals for T. Higgins? What if they franchise tag T. Higgins? Because they're going to pay. I'm just saying, like, it'd be crazy. I'm not saying it'll happen. It's something that crossed my mind, and I'm like, imagine a franchise tag and trade. The Eagles give Higgins, a bag, and then A.J. Brown swings in and catches footballs from. But I don't know. He's in such a diva mode right now. I don't know. Maybe it's not even an upgrade. I don't know.
Can he handle not being the number one guy?
Apparently not.
If we go, he's just better than him.
So where would he go realistically? Again, that was just my fun pipe dream thought. I'm not saying that.
I mean, I'll tell you that they've kicked the tires on him before. They almost drafted him. The Patriots would be in on him. I don't know. I don't know if that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd take him.
Again, I'm just kicking it around as a fun topic, guys. I'm not. I think A.J. Brown. Yeah, Patriots, Raiders, especially if they get a quarterback. If they somehow get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Steelers are always somehow looking for a wide receiver. Titans, back to the Titans would die. That would be horrible.
I think Washington would take a shot. Staying away from that type of guy.
I think he wants younger, but he might say, like, look, we need a veteran. I don't know. But your veteran presence, do you really want A.J. Brown, who's proving to be the worst of that kind?
That's what I'm wondering
Green Bay? Green Bay needs they need a wide receiver one.
They need to kind of consolidate those wide receivers.
They need a wide receiver one. LAR. What if there's rumors about trading Cup all year? What if they
Cup? Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
I mean, plenty of teams would want them.
Who do I have on the phone? Who do I have on the phone line? Josh. I'm sorry, Josh. I forgot you were there. You may go now. Go ahead, Josh. You're live. Poor guy.
I was like, man, these guys are rambling.
I know, bro. I'm sorry. You were so patient.
How's the night going, brother?
It's good, bro.
I love the show, man. I love the show.
What can I do for you?
Cool. I got a dynasty question, brother. I need your help, man.
All right, hit me with it.
I'm in a tight end premium, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got Brock Bowers. The guy's offering me MHJ and a third.
No. A third in like explain the third. Explain the third. It's a one-man keeper.
The third is like a third round, 6th round, 306.
306 in the vet draft. In the vet draft.
No, not in the vet draft. No, in the rookie draft.
Bro, here I got your answer right here.
You are offer sex. You are trade offer sex.
That's horrible, bro. That's a horrible trade offer. Number one, in a non-tight end premium, Brock Bowers goes ahead of MHJ in a non-tight end premium redraft league, probably by 2 to 3 full rounds. It doesn't mean I don't like MHJ. I love MHJ, but Gannon said as of about a week ago that Kyler Murray, and everybody changes their mind, but Kyler Murray is 100% returning as the Cardinals quarterback in 2025. And we just don't know what that means for MHJ, because clearly MHJ and Kyler are not doing well together. Could that change? Yeah. But, bro, fair market value-wise, Bowers is a first-rounder, bottom of round 1, if not like pick 8 or 9 or 10 to some people, in a non-tight end premium, bro. Like, it's not even... He needs to give you... Let me put this in perspective. In a tight end premium, he needs to give you 3 times that amount. He needs to give you 3 MHJs and 3 third-rounders for you to reject the offer still. That is a ridiculous trade offer. That's insulting.
That's why I call in. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, bro. Later.
Have a good night.
You imagine trying to walk in and get a Brock Bowers in a tight end premium for a guy that in a non-tight end premium that would go 2 rounds later? I mean, I don't know. Where do you guys think MHJ's dynasty value would be if drafting today? I don't think it's in the second round. I don't think it is.
Like in a startup?
In a dynasty startup. I want it to be that value. I love him. But how can you draft him as your second drafted player? Yeah, I don't even know if he'd go in the third round.
No.
I mean,
No,
he'd be a value.
There's probably, 6 or 7 receivers anyway that people would take over.
Yeah, I mean,
off the bat.
and again, we're
So,
talking dynasty. I
that's
get
just
that.
receiver.
I get that, but you have no evidence whatsoever that things are going to change next year. So how can you can't draft him here. There's no way. You can't draft him here. MHJ in a dynasty, no way. Like, I don't even think you can, third round, I don't think you can justify a dynasty startup and say, yeah, MHJ, you can't. So it's 30 round, no. Maybe fourth round. And Brock Bowers in a tight end premium could be number 1 overall. You know, I'm not saying he is, but he certainly could be. We got a $20 hauler here from Caleb Daniels. Caleb, appreciate you with the $20. Fired up.
Super chat alert.
To Jupiter.
Appreciate you, Caleb. Caleb coming in strong. Who was a better Cardinals quarterback, Drew Stanton or Matt Leinart? Man.
Who played more? I guess Leinart, right? Stanton didn't play that much.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, it's kind of a tricky question, like who had more I would say who had more upside, and Leinart. I actually thought Leinart could have been a good quarterback. Yeah. But that's yeah, I mean, Drew Stanton,
that was a crazy case between the Yankees and Michigan and the NFL. It was all over the place.
Yeah, Leinart was really. He could have been, like, that was one of those things where it's like, damn, that just didn't shake out the way you thought it was gonna shake out. Matt Leinart. Cardinals have had a number of those quarterbacks. We've had Matt Leinart. We've had Rosen. Josh Rosen was supposed to be I hated Josh Rosen. I thought that was the worst pick. And Josh Rosen was bust.
So you didn't like that? You didn't like when they took him?
Nope. He reminded me of Caleb Williams.
Yeah. Good guy.
That's one reason why I didn't like Caleb Williams, is because Josh Rosen and Caleb had a very similar vibe. Now Caleb is very much tweaked his image to be very humble looking, but he's not a very humble. Like, he looks it now. People are it's very disguised. Caleb is very, very much, he was kind of like, oh yeah, I need ownership of a team. If someone drafts me, I'm going to win 6 rings, and I'm not, like, his comments shine through. It's very arrogant, almost sociopathic comments come through where he says something like, I'm just, I'm not used to winning or to losing. And so, like, I'll ask a lot of my teammates, like, hey, how do you cope with losing like this? You've been a loser before. It's like his comment. It's like, bro, you got any social skills at all? Like, what are we doing here?
The media definitely anointed, like, Josh Rosen, talking about, oh, he's ready to go. He's going to walk in day one and be great. And so,
I did not like. I thought he was going to fail. Then Kyler Murray. I was excited about Kyler Murray, the pick, but I was not excited about Kyler Murray at all. I went live multiple times saying the Cardinals are making a grave mistake if they give Kyler Murray his contract before he's earned it. And then what do? They give him his contract. I was so against it. And he's a better quarterback than I think we can go get on the open market. So, like, we're in a box, right? Like, what do we do? Do we get rid of Kyler, and then what? The only way you could get rid of Kyler is if you go after Justin Fields, or you use Kyler to get Shador or Cam Ward, or you bridge quarterback it and you go all in on getting Arch Manning. Like, if you're not going after one of those scenarios, you might as well just keep Kyler, because the quarterback you bring in is going to be worse than Kyler.
Right.
So it's kind of a catch-22.
Now, Kyler was crazy too, because he was like signed, sealed, and delivered for the major leagues, and then he had that, played that last year and just shot up the draft board, and that changed everything. Yeah. Kyler is a good athlete, amazing athlete, but he's just not a good quarterback. And sometimes his kind of like Jalen Hurts right now.
And I was a big defender of Jalen Hurts with Shane Steichen, and the year coming out of Shane Steichen, when Shane Steichen went to Indianapolis, I was a big advocate of, don't run your mouth and look embarrassed by saying that Jalen Hurts is only a good fantasy quarterback and not a good NFL quarterback. And I truly believe with Steichen, he was an amazing NFL quarterback and an amazing fantasy quarterback. It was parallel. Because he was a 300-yard and 3 TD capable passer. 100%. His first 2 starts in the NFL, if I remember correctly, I'm going off of memory here, but I think Hurts came into his first game, it was like week 7 or week 13, I forget which one it was. He came in, I think it was like double-digit weeks, right around week 11, 12, 13. He came in, he started, and he had like 345 and 4 touchdowns, I believe. The next game, he had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, he came in gunslinging into the NFL. And Shane Steichen turned him into a...
14.
You what?
Week 14, yeah. He went...
What were his lines?
He was...
400 yards?
24 for 44, 338 with 3 touchdowns.
338 with 3 touchdowns in his first start. And then what was the second start?
Where are we? It was... actually, that was his second start.
Yeah.
His third start...
No, his first start.
342.
Okay.
His first start, he had 167 yards.
Well, yeah, but I think he came in that. I think he came in that game and he didn't actually start it. So the next game, it was what?
The first game, though, 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns.
342 and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, and then I think he was benched his third game at halftime after an amazing start because his coach is a absolute tool.
Yeah.
But
looks that way. Yep.
Anyway,
yeah, you had it.
His coach was a tool, and they moved on from there. It's been a roller coaster ride for Hurts. He's had a coaching carousel a little bit. He's had a lot of things go on. Losing his no Arch Manning to the Steelers. Knights, you'd be lucky to have Arch Manning as a Steeler. I hope to God he doesn't go there though, Knights. I don't want him going and getting ruined. Put Arch Manning in New York with neighbors. If I told you could have a guarantee of Cam Ward or Shadur to go to New York to throw to neighbors, or a 75% chance of Arch Manning going there the next year, what are you choosing? Everybody in the chat, what are you choosing? But 75% chance, not a guarantee. Chat, vote. 75% chance you get Arch Manning in 2026 or a guarantee Shadur or Cam in 2025. What are you taking for neighbors as value?
It might not be smart by me either, because like you said, it might not happen. And neighbors we saw, even with incompetent quarterback play, is pretty good. But I always want to see that top of the ceiling production if I get it. So I'll roll the dice.
Yeah, and there's a chance Arch does play multiple years in college. There is a chance for that. I honestly though, when a player is faced with going pro and they have a magnificent year, like they have an elite, amazing, they're going to be the number 1 quarterback in the draft, number 1 overall pick. Right. It's hard to turn it down to go back to the pros, no matter how much you plan on playing 2 years. Arch might also, everyone wants to predict what Arch wants. You don't know what Arch wants. You especially don't know what Arch wants after a year of dominating in college football. If he dominates in college football, what does he want? Maybe he wants to go pro. And his dad won't decide everything, or his uncles won't decide everything. Grandfather, his lineage won't decide everything for him. This is a guy commanding men on the field and one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Next year, you think he's always told what to do? I'm sure he makes some decisions for himself, and it's going to be up to him. Just like Deion Sanders says to Shadur, like, whatever you decide is good by me. The thing that kind of pissed me off though is the Raiders said they had 0 chance in Deion Sanders as a coaching option, and I think that's a big mistake. I know everybody will disagree on that for the most part, but I really love the idea of Deion and Shadur coming into LV, and just, God, you'd sell tickets and it'd be so exciting to watch football. I would be such a big Raider watcher. I don't want to say fan and disrespect, a fan base by saying fan. But I would be such a big Raider connoisseur of football games just to watch that unfold. That'd be unbelievable.
Yeah,
all right,
why wouldn't you for the entertainment? Yeah, it'd be awesome.
All right, Travis, I'm going to jump out. Anything else, pal?
Yep. No, talk to you later.
All right, later. Bye. Guys, I think I'm out of here. Caleb, thank you for the $20 super chat. You straight up magnificent super chatting monster, you. Caleb to freaking Jupiter.
To Jupiter. The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
I'm not positive on these dates for these guys, so I'm going to take this off the screen. But I'm putting dates of when I drop them.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men. The Moon men. Dropping loads in outer space.
Space Monsters.
He's Kyron, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyron.
Tomorrow, I very much hope to bring you a mock draft of sorts. So tomorrow I do feel pretty good about getting that finally taken care of for you. I do sometimes say, like, doing it before the playoffs end, then you just kind of have dated content. If, like, let's say somebody gets hurt, knock on wood, one of these players playing right now, and you got this mock draft out there. So, but who cares? We'll just do another one. I'll just run it back. Pre-NFL Super Bowl fantasy football mock draft and post-NFL Super Bowl fantasy football mock draft. Let's do the pre tomorrow. See you all tomorrow. Drew says, have I watched a North Carolina running back, Hampton? Of course I have. What do I look like? What do I look like? An imbecile? You can be honest, Drew. I won't get mad. Do I look like an imbecile? Of course I. Go watch my rookie running back breakdown video. I do a rankings of all the rookie running backs. The wide receiver videos to come. The quarterback videos to come. Have I seen Hampton? Who's Hampton? What kind of show would I have if I didn't know who the top running backs were coming into the draft class, Drew? Come on, man. All right, see you all tomorrow.